welcome back to another episode of the Itsy Bitsy Zoomcast. I'm Liz Charlene Tate.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Sheila Gould. I'm the Early Childhood Coordinator at Holyoke Community College, and we're continuing with Season 3, which is story time. And it's interesting that we're doing story time today because our special guest is a big fan of collecting testimony, and today we get to let her share her own story. But as every season goes, we have our HCC Early Childhood Practicum students serve as guest hosts. And Miriam, in a moment, will introduce herself. She's going to be our guest host today. But to start, we have Janae McDonald with us today. And Janae, we know you work for SEIU, Local 509 chapter. You're a board of trustee for STIC, Springfield Technical Community College. You recently ran for Springfield City Councilor for Ward 4. You wear a lot of hats, but how would you describe what you do in your many roles for our viewers?
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for having me on the Itsy Bitsy Zoomcast. This is such an awesome opportunity. And I love the name, by the way. I think it's so cute. And it's certainly nice to be with you all in this setting. I know that we have crossed paths, in other Zoom areas and as being early ed advocates. And so I say that to say, you can sum up a lot of what I do as advocacy and activism. And that's really, really important for me. And I think it's awesome when I look out through the trajectory of my career, where I've started and even where I'm at now, it has always involved some form of advocacy and has always involved some form of activism, whether it's paid or unpaid, right? And so whether it's like my professional career or something that I'm choosing to give my free time in the community. And that's something that's certainly near and dear to my heart.
Hi, I'm Miriam Diaz. I am a practicum student at the Holyoke YMCA. I'm about to graduate HCC and my story in the field is just starting. Janae, at this point in your career, you are working as an advocate for significant change in the field of early childhood and education. Would you tell us more about your story and how you got to this point?
Oh my goodness, I'm going to try to condense my story because we would be here way past our Itsy Bitsy Zoomcast story time. But thank you for that question, Miriam, and congratulations on getting ready to graduate recently. So what happened for me was, one, I've always been an advocate, right? And I didn't know this. I recall even in high school protesting the quality of the school lunches. I recall organizing community lunches where I was collecting like $2 to $3 per day from my fellow students. And I would go out and shop and my grandparents would drop me off to school early. And I would have all these grocery bags of like fruit and I would make sandwiches. Oh my goodness, yes. Wow. And so started to get I had a lunch table and I would go and I would pass out everything. And it was like a lunchtime co-op. I mean, I guess if you ask so. And eventually, they kind of say, well, Janae, you can't do that because if someone got sick or something, you don't want to be liable or get in trouble. And I'm like, listen, we're going to get sick from these lunches you're feeding us. I think it was awesome to see, right, to see what happened was, the principal of the school allowed me to meet with a representative from, I don't think it was Sodexo, I forgot who did the lunches at that time, but I had an opportunity to meet with a representative from the lunch company and talk about what some of our concerns were. And what happened was we also found out that teachers had like a different option to order like better sandwiches that had like lettuce and tomato on it. And we were kind of given like these soggy, like packets of foil lunches. And so the resolve was on certain days we were allowed to order from the teacher lunch menu. And I just think that was, I didn't realize then how powerful that was. I didn't know until now. It was like, Janae, you've always had organizing experience. You've always had the heart of an activist. And as I got older and I started having my own children, and I started to notice certain things out in the community that I was dissatisfied with and that I didn't like. I didn't know that the voice that I have as an individual, that I can still make an impact. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to tell people is that it's very important for you to get involved in, local organizations, community groups, activist groups. I got my start with Neighbor to Neighbor in the Western Massachusetts chapter. And that's where I really learned that I don't just have to sit home and be silent and be upset about my living conditions.
Mm.
I don't have to be upset about the quality of my neighborhood parks or how my streets are paved, and that I can actually do something about it. And I really owe a lot to that organization and my late great friend Jafet Robles, because
Oh, yes.
yes,
His
Jafet was an
nieces went to
awesome
school with
organizer.
my son. Oh,
He was such a wonderful leader and organizer, because he really, helped train us and remove our fears on how to talk to your legislator, on
Yeah.
how to write a letter and request action. And I think that was something that was very powerful for someone like me, a single mother, Black mother who lived in a marginalized community, right? Who was low income and had other service needs, and to really tap into that voice and power. And so it was there that I got my activism. After that, it was kind of like rolling with the wind. I started getting on political campaigns and being active there. I started networking, and that's really where it kind of started. And here now you look at where I'm at. Prior to being at the union and fighting on behalf of the rights of workers' rights and leading the family child care department, which is very important to me because they're over 90% women. There are more than half of them are women of color. And these
Yes.
women have dedicated their careers to serving low income and service need children,
Yes.
while some of them are still low income and have service needs themselves. And
Bingo.
so I think that, that is just really heartwarming to me, that I can work with every contractor every year to help increase their livelihood. I have my own childcare story. Where I had to rely on, fortunately for me, I had some retired aunties that I could rely on for childcare. And recently, you get the reminders on Facebook about like previous posts or something.
Yes.
There
Yes.
was a post from like 2014 where I literally said, looking for affordable quality childcare. It was for my twins at the time. They were about a year old, and I wanted to go back to work. And I had got on the wait list. My number hadn't quite been called for that. I really couldn't afford to pay out of pocket, but I was willing to because I needed to be able to get back to work. And so, just really allowing my life experiences to drive where I decide to spend my time, like I said earlier, whether that's paid or unpaid.
Wow. And you started to hit on some of what I'm going to ask you next. But it means a lot to me to hear your personal childcare story as well, especially with twins. It's very difficult to find two slots at the same place, never mind afford them. It means a lot to me to hear your story. And I wondered, like, what does it mean to you personally to look back and see where you've come and see what you're doing? What does that do? What does that mean for you personally?
It means a lot for me personally. It's what allows me to continue going when things get hard, right? And it's kind of like, okay, Janae, you're in a better place, right? You have been fortunate enough to have life-changing careers, right? Where you can make a prevailing and livable wage and provide a beautiful life for your children. And so sometimes it's really, I've been brought to tears a few times. Like, did you ever think, you would be at this point? I just purchased a home, and it's funny because my friend had been with me from my first apartment all the way to my second home. And she just kind of said, Janae, did you ever think? And I said, no, not in a million years, right? Like, not in a million years did I ever expect to, to own my own home. Not in a million years did I ever expect to, be this advocate and have a platform and actually have people listen. And so what it means for me personally is that the work isn't done.
Yeah.
And I need to keep inspiring others, because I know there are plenty of women out there that are just like me and have walked in my shoes. And so I just want to keep doing my due diligence to reach out and touch them and, let them know that, like, keep working hard, keep going with your assertive attitude. That was another thing for me. I have a very strong personality. I can come on very forward at times, but it has served me well. And so I want other women to know that, right? Especially in certain spaces, that you don't have to shrink yourself, in order to get by or to be successful.
Lift while you rise, right? Lift while you rise.
You're making me think of two things. One is, I think it was Elizabeth Warren who said, if you're not sitting at the table, you're what's for lunch. And
yes.
The other was Shirley Chisholm, who said that something about bringing your own chair to the table. And it feels like the pandemic has done something really curious and perhaps unexpected. It's brought more people to this table, but many people who feel that their voice was too small have decided to create their own tables. and to start creating value around this idea of this is valuable, come and speak to me, come and talk to me, and to build community and find your power. And so it's just so exciting. I love your energy, and it just makes me realize that your voice isn't too small. No one's voice is too small. We have to start somewhere and believing in ourselves, and even if your voice is shaky, to just keep talking and finding people that you have this commonality with and this passion.
It's interesting because while you both talk, I see Miriam nodding. And I hope you don't mind that I share this, but when I first started advising Miriam, she was quiet. She was quiet. And I had to pull and push a little to get her to come out of her shell and share her own story and her own opinions about working with children and supporting families. And I see, even through this screen, that what Janae is saying is resonating with her as, yeah, I am finding that my thoughts are important, and my ideas about supporting children are important. And that's a big thing that I've been working on trying to instill in my students, is how can they get involved, and what is advocacy, and that it doesn't have to be scary. So with that, Miriam, can you ask your next question?
Yeah. If you could ask our viewers to do one thing in the form of an action step, what would it be?
Okay, well, this is going to be, I guess, a little biased because my most recent advocacy project is the Common Start Coalition, right? And so, you know, there is a statewide coalition with over 80 organizations, labor-based, community-based, faith-based, you know, business-based organizations that have come together to attempt to solve for the child care crisis that's going on in Massachusetts. And it's really, really important. And the reason why I want folks to put their voice there is because I see this out in the community. I see it on social media. And sometimes I'll hop in comments if someone says, oh my goodness, $400 a week for childcare. I'm like, you have a story to tell. Can you get in touch with me? And so one of the biggest things that I would love everyone to know, because of the platform that we're on with the Itsy Bitsy Zoomcast, is that if you are involved in early education in any manner whatsoever, if you have had to babysit for a family member because they didn't have access to childcare, you have a story to tell. If you are a grandparent or a friend or a neighbor that has to provide childcare for a family so that they can get to work or return to work or get to school, you have a story to tell. If you're a mother or a father that has a childcare need or may have a very awesome childcare situation and are very happy with their program that they're at, we need to hear that as well, right? We need to understand what is working. We need to understand the importance of it. So if I could ask everyone to do one thing, it would be to provide some testimony. I don't know if there's going to be a portion on the screen where we can put my contact information up or something like that, but tell your story. Everyone has a story to tell. And what this pandemic has done, it has really blown up in our faces the true crisis that we have been facing all along. And a lot of us never knew how important early education really is. And not just for that parent to get to work, but when a child has access to early education earlier on, we are reducing the chance for that child living in poverty. We're reducing the chance of that child's family of living in poverty. And so we're really talking about changing the trajectory of the Massachusetts economy with this.
Yes.
If you've ever had a complaint, you were running late or something, I want to hear about it. Okay. And so I know that Liz and Sheila are going to tell you how to get in touch with me. Miriam, you're at the YMCA. I'm sure you have a story to tell. Okay. And I want to hear about it. So that's everyone's gift to me, please.
You know, and your episode is going to come out right before the winter holidays. So let's all give Janae the gift of testimony and send it her way. And Liz and I will have her contact information all over this post. And if anybody really can't find it or lost the post, you can message us through Facebook and we will get you in touch with Janae so that you can provide testimony.
Great.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much, Janae. I just love your energy. And I just want to thank you for, you called it the heart of an organizer. Thank you for having the heart of an organizer. I could listen to you tell stories. You know, it's itsy bitsy, so we're cutting it, we're coming to a close now, but hopefully we'll find another opportunity for you to come back on with us and share a story in the future, because it'll be interesting to see what happens next. So to close with a quote, like we always like to do, we'll just close with this: no voice is too soft when that voice speaks for others. So thank you, Janae, and thank you, Miriam, for being our guest host.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.